Let's talk about that feeling, that post-meal bloat, the gas, just feeling heavy and sluggish. It's something so many of us just accept as normal. But what if the answer isn't some new fad, but wisdom that's thousands of years old? Well, today we're going to demystify digestion by diving into Ayurveda's incredibly powerful and, honestly, time-tested approach to gut health. I mean, seriously, does that sound familiar? You finish a meal, it could even be a super healthy meal, and instead of feeling energized and ready to go, you just feel blah, sluggish, bloated. It's so common, but here's the thing. Ayurveda tells us that while it might be common, it is not normal. It's actually a really clear sign that something inside is a little out of balance. So what's really going on in there? Well, it all comes down to this one central concept, Agni. The best way to think of it is as your body's digestive fire. According to Ayurveda, the strength of your Agni, your fire, pretty much determines your entire health. When it's burning bright and strong, you digest food easily, you absorb all the good stuff, and you get rid of waste efficiently. But when that fire is weak or sputtering, that's when the problems. So the big question is, how do we keep this digestive fire burning brightly? We're going to start with the most fundamental principles. I'm talking the absolute foundation for supporting your Agni and building a seriously healthy gut. Okay, so at the very heart of Ayurveda is this really simple, kind of beautiful principle, like increases like, and opposites create balance. It sounds a little abstract, but it's super practical. So if your digestion naturally has cool and dry qualities, the solution isn't some complicated formula. You just need to bring in the opposite qualities, things that are warm, moist, and grounding. Let's break that down. First up, warm versus cold. Ayurveda is a huge fan of freshly cooked, warm meals, and it just makes sense, right? Think about it. If you pour an icy drink or a cold salad into your stomach, it's like throwing a bucket of water on a campfire. It just dampens the flame. On the other hand, using warming spices like ginger, cinnamon, and cumin, that's like adding kindling. It helps stoke that digestive fire. Next, we've got moist and oily versus dry. You know, a dry digestive system is often the culprit behind things like constipation and bloating. So that's why healthy fats, like ghee or good olive oil, and really hydrating meals like soups and stews are so important. They literally lubricate the whole system. Now, on the flip side, foods that are super dry, like popcorn or crackers, can kind of make things worse. So it's a good idea to minimize those if you're feeling a bit off. And finally, let's talk about smooth versus rough. Now, I know what you're thinking. We hear all the time about getting more roughage, but Ayurveda has a slightly different take. It suggests that for some people, huge quantities of raw, fibrous veggies can actually be too harsh, almost like sandpaper on a delicate system. Instead, foods that are cooked, soft, and have a smooth texture are way gentler. They allow your body to break them down and absorb all those nutrients with a lot less effort. Okay, so once you've got those basic qualities down, warm, moist, smooth, the next layer to consider is flavor. In Ayurveda, there are 6 essential tastes. The real goal is to get a little bit of all of them in your diet, but the secret to amazing digestion is knowing which ones to emphasize and which ones to maybe ease up on depending on how you're feeling. To really calm and support digestion, you want to lean into these 3 tastes. First is sweet, and I don't mean candy. I mean naturally sweet things like fruits, grains, and root vegetables. They're super grounding and nourishing. Then there's sour, like a squeeze of lemon or some fermented foods like kimchi. This taste really wakes up your digestion. And finally, salty, which helps stimulate your appetite and helps your body hold on to moisture. These 3 are basically the building blocks of a deeply satisfying meal. Now, on the other hand, these 3 tastes can be a little bit aggravating if you overdo them. Pungent, think hot chilies or raw onions, is very hot and very drying. Bitter, which you find in things like kale or dark leafy greens, is cooling and can be a bit rough. And astringent is that dry, chalky feeling you get from things like crackers or unripe bananas. Now, a little bit is great, but too much of these can really throw your digestive system for a loop. All right, this next part is, for me, just mind-blowing. Ayurveda says that how you combine your foods is just as important as what you're actually eating. If you get it wrong, you can create what's basically a digestive traffic jam. And that leads to all the stuff we don't want: fermentation, gas, and a buildup of toxins. So, here's the core idea. Different foods need totally different digestive environments to break down properly. This quote explains it perfectly. When you mix foods that have wildly different properties, like one digests really fast and another digests really slow, you just confuse the whole system. Your Agni, your digestive fire, gets overloaded,
And instead of getting nourishment, you end up with toxic gunk.
I mean, just take a look at some of these common pairings that are on the incompatible list. Milk and bananas? That's a classic smoothie, right? But Ayurveda says that because their post-digestive effects are so different, mixing them can actually create congestion and weaken your digestive fire. It's wild. And melons? The rule is super simple. Eat them alone or leave them alone. They digest so much faster than everything else that if you eat them with other foods, they just end up sitting there and fermenting.
But it's not all just about what you eat. True Ayurvedic gut health is holistic. It's about your whole lifestyle, and that includes some really simple but incredibly powerful practices. So let's look at a key ritual that goes way beyond just what's on your plate. So in Ayurveda, the navel, which is called the nabi, is seen as this vital energy hub. Seriously, it's believed to be the starting point for over 72,000 energy channels that run all through your body, and it has a direct, powerful connection to all of your digestive organs. This makes it a pretty incredible access point for influencing your gut health. And the practice itself is this beautiful, calming ritual called navel oiling. It's so easy. You just lie down, put a few drops of a warm oil, like sesame or castor oil, right into your belly button, and then you just gently massage the area in a circle. This simple act is believed to relax all the abdominal muscles, calm your nervous system, and really stimulate your Agni. It's an incredibly soothing thing to do, especially right before you go to sleep. So we've got food, and we've got daily rituals, but Ayurveda also has this vast, incredible pharmacy of herbal remedies. And when it comes to digestion, one of the most common and effective ways to use them is in the form of a finely ground herbal powder. This is called a churna. It's a really traditional method where herbs are completely dried and then ground into this super fine powder. The reason they do this is because this form is really easy for the body to absorb, and it lets you create these amazing synergistic blends where all the different herbs can work together. A really classic example of this is something called Hingvashtak churna. And hey, you probably recognize a lot of these ingredients from your own spice rack. This specific blend of 8 really powerful herbs and spices, including things like ginger, cumin, and fennel, is specifically designed to kindle your Agni, relieve gas, and just put an end to that bloating. You typically take it with a little warm water or ghee right before a meal to kind of prep the whole system. So we've covered daily diet, rituals, and even herbal support. But what if you feel like you need something deeper, like a total reset? Well, for that, Ayurveda has its most profound therapeutic process, a true reboot for your entire system. This is called panchakarma. And let me be clear, this is not a simple juice cleanse or a weekend detox. It's a really comprehensive set of therapies that are designed for deep internal purification. The whole goal is to remove those really deep-seated toxins and allow your body's systems to come back to a state of perfect balance and function. This slide really highlights the key difference. A lot of modern detox plans are what Ayurveda would call palliative. They just temporarily neutralize toxins, but they don't get them out. Panchakarma is a purificatory therapy. It's a profound process that is designed to physically expel the toxins from your tissues. We're talking about a much deeper, more permanent kind of reset. And if you're thinking this all sounds a little out there, check this out. Modern science is actually starting to back this up. There was this one incredible study that found that after just a few days of panchakarma treatment, the levels of stubborn environmental toxins, the kind that get stored in your fat, were reduced in the blood by a staggering 46%. That is a profound, measurable deep clean. Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of ground, from simple food swaps to a full-on system reset. But listen, the journey always starts with just one small step. You don't have to do everything at once. So my question to you is, what's one simple practice you could try this week to start rekindling your own digestive fire?